For 37 years, we've been stuck on 11. From Sir Barton in 1919, Gallant Fox 11 years later in 1930, Omaha, War Admiral, Whirl Away in 1941, Count Fleet 2 years later in 43, Assault, Citation, and that big gap into the golden era of the 70s was Secretariat, Seattle Slew, and Affirm. 37 years. We've been stuck on an odd number 11. Wouldn't it be nice 13 days from today, Saturday, June 6th, for American Pharoah to make it an even 12 and join those iconic names out on the infield?
I would love to see it be an even dozen, and it just underscores that it is the hardest thing in sport to achieve for a horse to win the American Triple Crown. 5 weeks, 3 races, 3 different distances, 3 different locations. It is truly the test of a champion. He's beat them all. He'll be the star attraction when he ships to New York. He already is the star attraction, but he's shipping to New York on Tuesday, June the 2nd for trainer Bob Baffert. Churchill Downs has opened up their facility when American Pharoah goes out and trains from 8:30 to 8:45 every day. His training session and a few other Belmont contenders open to the public. I read that about 20 minutes ago on bloodhorse.com, and I was happy to see it. That's a smart move. That's what we have to do to market our game. Allow people to get access to these great horses. Allow them to see them prepare for the races, not just run the races. Let them get up a little closer, a little more personal, and that's what's going to attract people and captivate them and make them fans and keep them fans. And this was a captivated crowd today at Belmont Park. And let's get the formalities out of the way. It's the Mig, Richard Migliore. Jason Blewitt is alongside. A picture-perfect Sunday evening as we tape the show. Memorial Day weekend in full swing at Belmont Park. And from the first race at 1:20, with my window upstairs open, a round of applause when the horses left the starting gate. It got even louder when they turned from home for home. This was just a crowd that was into the racing, and they packed both the front side and the backyard. Yeah, I'm always taken with how the backyard is really utilized on the weekends. People come out, they enjoy it. It is that beautiful kind of pastoral park setting. And then down at the quarter pole, you've got the barbecue. I mean, I could smell the barbecue drifting from that way. It was making me hungry. I thought I might go down there, introduce myself, maybe get some free lunch, but I stayed up in my office. They know who the Mig is. You don't need an introduction. I'm sure they'd be happy to give you a hot dog and a hamburger. Mubdahish, he's our first headline. American Pharoah. We'll get him at Belmont Park a week and a half from now for Bob Baffert. But Mubdahish has been here since May 15th. He's got that Group 2 win on the Dubai World Cup undercard in the UAE Derby, and he had his third time workout over the last 8 days today at Belmont. Well, it's certainly a lot different way of training a horse than we normally see here in the United States, but Mike DeCock knows what he's doing. He wins all over the world, and I like that he's putting this much foundation into this horse. It is a 1.5-mile race, and obviously he knows his horse can stand up to this kind of work. One thing you know for sure, he's not going to be a short horse going to the Belmont. Irad Ortiz Jr. will have the call in a race like the Belmont where young riders have won it in the past. In recent times, I think of Fernando Hara, Alan Garcia. Maybe a Belmont win is in the cards for Irad Ortiz Jr. Honor Code did not make the Triple Crown Series as a 3-year-old. He's been patiently handled, but as a 4-year-old, does he have a race like the Metropolitan on his radar and maybe future resume? He tuned up for the Met today with Javier Castellano, earning the bullet for 5 furlongs at 59-4. And by all accounts, he was super impressive. All the clockers, talking Mike Welch, he really, really liked what he saw. I know Shug McGahee was very happy. He says he didn't think he liked the track at Churchill Downs. He's a horse that I think is better around one turn because he's going to get real pace to run at. He's going to have that closing kick that we see, and he's been successful here at Belmont. Well, he just missed in the Champagne when he had a swing out wide and he gobbled up the ground. I think this is going to be a Metropolitan Mile for the ages. It is. You've got the 2 Belmont winners, Tonalist and Palace Malice, ready to knock heads, a Breeders' Cup Classic winner in Bayern, who's likely to start, and a Cigar Mile and repeat Vosburg winner in Private Zone. The names are there. It'll be one heck of a race for the winner's share of $1.25 million. How about Lady Eli, who's been brilliant, and that word has been thrown around with her name. It's been synonymous since her 2-year-old filly win last summer at Saratoga. She's unbeaten. She's a Breeders' Cup winner, and she will be running next weekend in the Wonder again for Chad Brown. And she is brilliant. She's got a turn of foot that reminds you of some of the great fillies and mares we've seen in the past, Miesk and horses of that ilk. I wonder about how far she wants to go because of that brilliance. A lot of times they've got that quick acceleration, but then they can't carry it on. It's going to be interesting to see what she does going forward. But I have to say she is the best 3-year-old filly on any surface in this country.
We're a week out from her second start of the 3-year-old campaign for Chad Brown. She will try 9 furlongs for the first time in the $200,000 Wonder Again Archie Prep for the Stars and Stripes Belmont Oaks. Looking forward to all that. Some big names will be in the entries over the next few days at Belmont Park. But what happened today? We're smack dab in the middle of Memorial Day weekend. The featured third race, $90,000 purse, a short field, and a heavy favorite in the form of Room for Me as we send it up to track announcer Larry Colmus.
They're off. And Room for Me goes right out to take the early lead. Alongside is Sky Girl with speed, La Madrina right behind, Frivolity to the outside, and the trailer is Medaglia d'Argento. The leader is Room for Me, 3/4 of a length ahead of Sky Girl as they go into the turn. La Madrina tracks them from the inside, and then it's Frivolity running in 4th by 2, and Medaglia d'Argento is 5 lengths off the front-running favorite, Room for Me, who completes a quarter in 23 seconds flat. So an easy opening fraction here. Sky Girl is alongside in second. Frivolity goes up 3 wide. La Madrina waits at the rail and is just 2 lengths off the lead and in contention. Medaglia d'Argento ridden along at the back of the field as they come toward the top of the stretch. And Room for Me turns for home in front. La Madrina is right behind her, though, and she's going to switch to the outside for the stretch drive. Farther out comes Frivolity in third, final furlong, and it's Room for Me. Room for Me by 2. And then La Madrina. Frivolity on the outside is third. Room for Me is pulling away. Room for Me and Cornelio Velasquez strong under the wire by almost 4. And then it was Frivolity, followed by La Madrina.
And strong might just be the operative word with Room for Me, who is not only has found room with David Jacobson, she has found a home in that barn on the East Coast. Her third start, third big effort in 17 days.
Yeah, and David Jacobson, not bashful about running horses back quick when they're in good form. We don't see many trainers do it. Maybe they'd be more successful at it if they tried it once in a while. But obviously this filly has flourished under this workload, and another stellar performance by her. I mean, we talk about Muftahij working 3 times in 8 days. Well, she just won her second race, or actually a second and a win in her last 8 days.
Right, it was only Preakness Day, a few hours or maybe an hour before American Pharoah won the second jewel of the Triple Crown. That Room for Me was a game and resolute second behind the speedy and freakish at times La Verdad. Quick turnaround did not matter. The chalk players sent it in with both fists, and David Jacobson wound up running 1-2 and got the winner's share of the $54,000 purse.
Well, and that's what I look at. The purse is $90,000, 54 to the winner.
Yep.
I mean, why would you want to race any place other than New York with the kind of purses? If you're 1, 2, 3, you're paying a lot of bills.
And we're doing just that at Belmont Park. We're staying put. We're not going anywhere. It's the Taj Mahal from the start to the end of this edition on MSG Plus. We've got a lot more coming your way, including a very good-looking 3-and-up maiden special weight. We want you here. No better place, no better event than Belmont Stakes Day. We up the ante when there's a Triple Crown on the line. We get just that on Saturday, June the 6th. Limited $15 grandstand admission is available. You can pick those up at BelmontStakes.com. And if you want to send it in, well, we've got you covered from the start of the day through race number 13 with a bunch of guaranteed wagers.
Over $4 million in guaranteed wagers. It's almost enough to make me start to wager a little bit. I don't normally. I just enjoy watching the races, watching the riders, the trainers, how they develop these horses. But with that kind of incentive, it's almost hard not to jump in.
Yeah, pick 4s, pick 5s. I'm not a pick 6 player. I will be partaking. I'm not bashful about admitting that. Pick 4s and pick 5s all day long on Belmont Stakes Day 2015. Race number 7 played part in the late pick 4. In fact, a big field. We had 10 betting interests. 11 went to the post, and they zeroed in on an arbitrator for trainer Christophe Comant. That horse's odds on as we see what happened in the 7th with Larry Calling.
And it's Bluegrass Rye who comes out quickly to take the early lead. And then it's Abdar away running in second. Bourbon Commander came out third to the inside. Is now losing a couple of positions as Pisca goes up farther out. In between horses, Mongolian King, Stars Ride to the outside is next. And then back to newscast. Arbitrator is down on the inside, 6 lengths off the lead and a bit of traffic early on. Alongside of Closing Bell. And then it's Mr. Manolo and Malibu Preachers well behind. 23-2 was the first quarter as the field races up the backstretch. Bluegrass Rye by a length. Abdar is second. Pisca to the outside third. Mongolian King follows in fourth. Right in behind them are Stars Ride and Bourbon Commander. The favorite Arbitrator still about 7 behind and racing on the inside of Closing Bell as they go into the turn. And then it's newscast, Mr. Manolo, and still well out of it is Malibu Preacher, 46 flat for the first half mile. And it is Bluegrass Rye in front. Here comes Pisca moving 3 wide. Abdar is in between those two and right in contention. And then it's Mongolian King, Stars Ride to the outside. Farther out, Closing Bell with a 3 wide run. An inside trip all the way so far for Arbitrator, who still has work to do. 3/4 went in 1:11-1, and they're into the stretch, and it's Abdar and Pisca. Abdar and Pisca joined by Closing Bell on the outside. Closing Bell has gone on by. It is Closing Bell in front. Abdar on the inside is second. Late run from Arbitrator on the outside, but it is Closing Bell and Abdar fighting back on the inside. These two down to the line together. Closing Bell over Abdar. Arbitrator was third. Stars Ride fourth.
Belmont always dangerous with the second-time starter. He's got one that they paid $400,000 for as a yearling, and a gritty performance by this colt by Tappet in Closing Bell, who ran down a very game runner-up in Abdar.
A very game runner-up, and here's a horse, didn't change his lead, so about the last 40 yards, Closing Bell. Ran well first time on the turf when he rallied from very far back, showed a good turn of foot late at Gulfstream, comes back up here on the dirt, and Tappet is just remarkable.
95 wins on the year after Closing Bell's maiden victory. He was bet 4-1 shot. I think he wound up the second choice, paid $10 to win. Abdar and Closing Bell ran well. Don't get me wrong for Winstar. Abdar is a horse, and if you like Chad Brown at 11-1, that was a tough beat to take because he ran so well. But nobody that played part in the pace with him finished anywhere. Would you look for him next time out?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, it's interesting. He didn't have the look of a horse that really wanted all of a mile and a 16th. Well, I was wrong about that. He certainly ran through the wire. He just got run down by a pretty promising kind of a horse, but he's promising himself. So I think you got to look at both those horses coming out of this race and going forward.
And the 3-5 favorite, Arbitrator, rallied late, little bit of traffic, no real excuse, checked in third, finishing off the trifecta. We move on to race number 8. We spent both halves of the late double on the turf, and let's get on to the opening leg. It is the 8th. These are New York bred 3-up Philly Mare Allowance horses, and Larry is in the booth.
And it is Kickin' Livy who goes out to take the early lead. Majestic Jessica away well. Then Sonora to the outside. Graham Crackers is next. Then Baby B. Dreamboat Annie, the big favorite, not the best of beginnings. 7 lengths off the lead early on. Then comes Chasing Paradise. And Annie Walker, who was slow to start, is last of them all as the field races for the turn where it's Kickin' Livy in front. A 22 flat opening quarter mile. And the lead is 2 lengths. Then it's Sonora running in second. Majestic Jessica third to the inside. Graham Crackers is fourth, and Dreamboat Annie's getting going now on the outside, and there she goes. Dreamboat Annie moving quickly while going 3 wide, and now all the way up into second. Going very wide, though, is Dreamboat Annie as they come toward the top of the stretch. Kickin' Livy, the leader. Dreamboat Annie has rushed up alongside, and now these two are together at the top of the stretch, and Dreamboat Annie is let loose by John Velasquez. Dreamboat Annie to the front. Kickin' Livy battles her from the inside. Then comes Graham Crackers, followed by Baby B. Annie Walker on the far outside, and Chasing Paradise coming down to the line. Dreamboat Annie has won it. Oh, it's so close for second there between Annie Walker and Kickin' Livy, and then another photo between Majestic.
John Velasquez had a ton of horse, just slightly got in the Dreamboat Annie at crunch time, and she forges ahead over an 89-1 runner-up.
But you got to give the runner-up a lot of credit for hanging in there as well as she did. Kickin' Livy, first time on the turf, for Jeremiah Englehart, but it's all Dreamboat. Annie Lee Giamatti does a good job with her horses, and Johnny Velasquez was extremely confident. He didn't shake her up until well inside the 8th pole.
One of 4 winning favorites on today's program. In fact, she would be the last at 3-5. She's a filly by Freud, owned, or at least the majority owner, Dr. Tom Qualterra of Crown Stable. You know Dr. Tom, you like Dr. Tom, right?
He's a great guy, and he's Mr. Saratoga, and just a guy you're happy to see do well and win races, and he loves the game.
And we'll get back to a guy that loves the game as well. It's track announcer Larry Comas, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 9 off the quarter pole.
At the top of the stretch, Northern Call at 21-1 shot continues to lead the way. It's a 2-length lead here on Sunny Puzzle. Jumpin' Frack Flash is third on the outside. Final furlong. Northern Call still there, clinging to the lead on the rails. Sunny Puzzle getting closer. So too Jumpin' Frack Flash. The 3 of them will come down to the line together. Jumpin' Frack Flash got there. Then a photo between Sunny Puzzle and Northern Call, followed by Diamond, leading it by a length and a half to Samus. Here comes Laura's Patriot, and Laura's Patriot's closing on the outside. Saratoga Karaoke keeps on going. Saratoga Karaoke on the outside. Laura's Patriot. Samus swimming is finishing well late, but time is out, and Saratoga Karaoke won it. And then it was Laura's Patriot, followed by Swimming and Samus. Tori swings up on the outside. They're into the stretch, and it's Round Up the Loot. Round Up the Loot, and Cornelio Velasquez past the 8th pole in front. And then Who's the Daddy on the inside, and Borseggiatori. Borseggiatori's coming. Round Up the Loot. Borseggiatori on the outside. Runs on by. Borseggiatori over Round Up the Loot. Who's the Daddy and Culprit. La Montagne takes the lead, and Jenny's Creek is charging up on the outside. Now these two to the 8th pole. La Montagne and Jenny's Creek. No Tunes has rallied up into third, but is 3 lengths behind as La Montagne puts them away. La Montagne, another win for Eric Consell. It's going to be Jenny's Creek second, and then No Tunes and On a Star. Singer in front, but here comes Heat Flash, and here comes Eric Consell with Heat Flash on the far outside, and they rush by to take the lead. Speeding Comet's getting going though too, and on the outside it's Arctic Slope. Speeding Comet trying to catch Heat Flash. Heat Flash, Speeding Comet. These two down to the line together. Heat Flash, Consell again. And then it was Speeding Comet second, Arctic Slope, and Muta Sawi turns for home in front. Mary's in Utopia to the outside. Flying KC needs a way through. Flying KC right behind the leaders. Now switches outside the top 2. Then the Giant is lit on the far outside, who's finishing well. Mary's in Utopia. The Giant is lit. Flying KC third. The Giant is lit. Pulls away to win from Mary's in Utopia. And then came Flying KC, followed by Mini Muffin.
Well, if my memory is correct, that was Maggie's paddock play on last night's Insider. The lamp is lit. We hope the Rangers will do that tonight, lighting up the goal behind Ben Bishop at the Garden.
Well, we sure hope so. The way they played the other night, it makes us hopeful, especially coming back to the Garden. And Nash found his touch again, and St. Louis put one in the net, so maybe we're going in the right direction.
Well, Eric Consell is definitely going in the right direction.
Absolutely.
As we check out our second look on this gorgeous Sunday. And we've got Cappy in his binoculars, and he had full view of Eric Consell, who, even though it didn't work out narrowly in today's first race, this was a ride that really deserved to get some notice and recognition.
Yeah, I mean, he won 3 other races today, so he had a terrific day. But I thought this ride just showed how aggressive he's being. He's getting run out of horses, and how speed is always dangerous. I don't know why guys get bashful about using a horse's speed. He almost pulled it off on a big long shot just by being aggressive, and you got to appreciate when a guy takes his best shot, even if it fails. He's trying to make it happen.
He's a 7-pound apprentice riding live horses, and he's got plenty of momentum heading into that Big Apple Showcase Day, Memorial Day card here tomorrow that gets underway at 1:20 p.m. And in fact, Eric Consell was one of only 2 riders to win more than 1 race today. As Mig said, he had a hat trick, and Jose Lozcano walked away with a couple of victories as well.
Yeah, a couple good days there, and Irad Ortiz still with that 3-length lead, even though his His suspension's almost over. Javier Castellano looming boldly, as is Cornelio Velasquez, and Eric Cancel has jumped into the fray. It's going to be fun.
A 9-race Sunday, 9 different trainers. 1 race is today. Bill Mott, second time out, and it's been a good weekend. He had a second time out winner, I should say, by Taffet, and that followed a turf horse by Taffet in yesterday's Paradise Creek. It was pretty good.
Again, Taffet's win on anything, and he's seen to run any distance. But boy, has it really tightened up at the top of the leaderboard. Chad Brown still blazing the way, but hot pursuit by some really good horsemen.
How about claims? We have got 1 slate to show you, beginning with Jumpin' Frack Flash. 4-way shake on him, and boy, oh boy, did he cut it close, just up in the nick of time in the Sunday opener.
Yeah, he just got up. Bruce Brown, he'll be giving him dinner tonight in his barn, and a couple other claims, kind of a $35,000 to $50,000 range. Some days we see them a little lower level, but today, some quality changing hands.
Including Joe Sharp, who took one for Class Personified Stable out of race number 6. The winner, in fact, Heat Flash, for $35K. Who is going to win tomorrow's Mike Lee? We don't know. We'll preview it after this final timeout. But here's a look back at last year's Mike Lee winner. And man, is he a serious racehorse. It's Captain Serious. Hallowed grounds in the backyard, not to be missed. It was alive and well, filled with families, friends, and people having a great time. We talked about it on last night's show. It just puts a smile on my face when the weather is perfect and people are just enjoying themselves at Belmont Park. It is what thoroughbred racing is all about.
Yeah, taking advantage of these beautiful grounds here, and you're so close to everything, and it feels like you're in the country when you're in the backyard at Belmont. It is fun, a great atmosphere.
And you don't have to go far to come here and enjoy the day. It costs you a few bucks to get in. It really is the best bet in town. Well, we've got that Big Apple Showcase Day card in the New York Racing Series tomorrow, 5 p.m. right here on MSG Plus. We will have the Critical Eye for you live. Set the DVR if you've got plans. Maybe you'll be here at Belmont. We hope that's the case. But let's preview, Mig, a couple of races earlier than the Critical Eye and post time for our show on MSG Plus, beginning with the 5th, the Mike Lee for New York-bred 3-year-olds. Big field, a solid race, and a few horses rematching off the Sleepy Hollow last fall.
Yeah, Ostrolenka, who's 3 for 3 at Belmont Park, and it makes sense that he would appreciate the layout of Belmont, big, wide, sweeping turns. He's got a big, long way of going. It probably helps him get confident and go on. He's going to have to use some of his speed from the inside to make sure he secures position, but he showed high speed last time, a mile and a 16th. No reason he can't do it going 7/8.
Speaking of high speed, what do you do with this horse, Wincoma, who on May 9th ran a hole in the wind, 6.5 and 15 and 4, good for a Beyer speed figure of 91.
Well, he's fast, but he might have trouble handling the speed directly to his inside in Regal Minister. They could do themselves damage if they get hooked up early, and speed horses that are drawn next to each other tend to get hooked up because they're in close proximity and they go off together. And Ostrolenka, if he comes out running, could be sitting the perfect trip third in the clear.
Good report by the Daily Racing Form's David Grenning regarding Mike Hushin and his improvement from battling leukemia in Friday's DRF. And Mike Hushin, Barry K. Schwartz won this race a year ago with Captain Serious. They are back with Papa Shot, who, as you can see, easily broke his maiden last time out.
Yeah, quite impressive breaking his maiden. Improved markedly off his first start, and it is the winning part of this is just what you said. Michael Hushin doing so well, a great horseman, a great guy, a friend of mine, and just so pleased and happy that he's on his way to recovery.
Yeah, it was great news that he was out at his Belmont Park barn for the return of Artemis Agraterra, who got back as a 4-year-old.
And he was out again this morning, too.
Awesome. I love hearing that. We wish Mike the best of luck, and good luck tomorrow on the Mike Lee as well. On to the Bowery, 3-year-old fillies, and the 3-year-old, both 3-year-old stakes on tomorrow's card were filled up in the entries box. Keyson, Made of the Miss, Bob Robato. What do you think of her coming back?
I like Keyson. She undefeated against New York Breds, undefeated here at Belmont Park. Bob Robato does a great job for his longtime client, Mark Keller, and this filly is very, very good, and I see no reason why she can't stay undefeated against New York Breds tomorrow.
Let's move on to Lakeside Sunset, who won the 2015 Bell Harbor Stakes. Lakeside Sunset going out for trainer Bruce Brown. In fact, she was third in this race after weakening a deep stretch.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously a nice filly. She's never done anything wrong. She's going to have to step her game up, I think, to deal with somebody like Keyson, but the 7 7 furlongs should be well suited to her style of running.
We move on off this Aqueduct replay, and we go to the 2015 Park Avenue Stallion Stakes with Take Issue and the Lewis Dinner over at Aqueduct. What do you think?
Well, the Lewis Dinner was trying to get out very badly the entire race, but she stabled at Aqueduct. She broke from the outside, and I think she was looking for her barn. She was looking for the stable area. Well, she's not going to have that problem here at Belmont Park. She should get a much better trip, and I see her definitely turning the tables on Take Issue, but she's got some other talent to deal with it as well.
And maybe some good karma with Dreamboat Annie, who was narrowly beaten along the rail. She bounced out of that Park Avenue Stakes and won today's 8th as a popular favorite at 3-5. And speaking of popular, Andy and Maggie, they're standing by with who to look for on Memorial Day.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, we've got a great day of New York breds running on Monday's card, and I think there's plenty of opportunities throughout the card. A horse that I'm interested in is in the 7th race, the Bowery, and there's quite a few contenders. Now, going back to the fall, it looked like the 10, Temperament Patty, might be the leader of this division. Well, things sort of fell apart for her when she didn't run that well here on New York Bred Showcase Day, and she's been tackling a lot of tigers since. She returns to New York, the place where she's run her best races. She gets a trainer change to Jeremiah Englehart. Now, certainly it's not a great change from a guy like Dale Romans. Maybe it's a lateral change, but it's nice to see her back in New York, and I think that's the most important factor. Plus, I like her with her outside post, and I'm going to hope back with New York breds that Temperament Patty can get back on track. Her main competition, Kazan, coming off a layoff. This barn usually needs a race off a layoff. I think Lakeside Sunset is the horse she has to beat, the 7 horse, but for me, it's the 10, Temperament Patty, in our Bowery as we head to Maggie.
Thanks, Andy. Well, we have a great card lined up for this Memorial Day this year. It's New York Showcase Day, one of 3 that we'll have on the Naira circuit, and the New York breds are always on display. And the Mike Lee looks like a very competitive race, and that's where I'll go. And I'll go to the inside with number 1, Possessed, in here, and I'm going for my 2nd Charlie Baker horse in a row. Possessed, to me, possesses the best physical makeup for a horse getting the 7 furlongs, because you have a lot of horses in here that might come a bit up short, and some that, well, they'll need more ground. And his last effort was really good, I thought. So I think he's the one that's in great career form as of now. 2, he threw down a very nice work here on the Belmont main track. So it's Possessed, your Paddock Insider for today. Jay, Mig, back to you.
Yep. And that'll do it. Thank you very much, Andy and Maggie. We look forward to having them with us on the New York Racing Series, 5 p.m. Have a great Memorial Day here at Belmont Park. Best of luck to the New York Rangers, and we do it all again tomorrow beginning at 1:20 p.m. on the Monday card.